Hello and welcome to the Wolfswood. It's kind of a part 2 episode here. I have Cameron back with me.
Hello.
We're going to discuss cards we think are overrated, underrated, what our thoughts are in the current meta. This will be a little different because before we were just talking about the core set cards. There's going to be a link to that in the description. But today we're going to kind of lump together the start box with all the first cycle.
Yep.
So
basically cards that we feel like are worth discussing for one reason or another. Like Grant said, just like how we did it in the last video. So
you can start. Let's see what you got in your list.
Thank you.
You got 10 each.
My first card is Syrio Forel, neutral character. I don't know about you and how you feel about this card, but I feel like he's still really good. He's still an investment at 5 gold, but you have to keep in mind he's immune to first snow, and if your deck relies on like some kind of military triggers, whether it be like ice or what's that location for Greyjoy, the Seastone Chair?
Yeah.
Or even put the sword. If you have those kind of triggers in your deck, Syrio almost by himself can guarantee you that those triggers are going to happen when you see him. That said, because he's not a lord or a lady, you're probably going to want to run either trading the Pentoshi or calling the banners if you are including him in your deck, because if you don't have that King's Road out, you're probably not going to be able to play him very easily. So, Ryan, what do you think about him?
This is that card that I'm never running, but I know I should be running one of, like in almost every deck. Like, I feel like I either got to run one of him or one of Littlefinger, one of the two, depending on what I need in my deck. He's really solid. I'm not sure you play him in Greyjoy anymore, but he's so good with Mirri Maz Duur. It's I can't stop bringing that card up. I don't know if I had to rate him or something. I'd say he's like a 3.5 out of 5. He's still really strong. Stealth is really strong, but it's hard to fit him in, especially in decks like Stark, where you just want to run a bunch of your in-house stuff, or you're trying to squeeze in like your banner and stuff. It's just hard.
I agree, but I also feel like specifically with Stark, he's almost the best fit, just because the combo with Catelyn is so stupid.
Oh, that's dumb.
And amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
He's a great card, and he's good in like even houses like we already mentioned, like Greyjoy, Martell, maybe if you're doing Lord of the Crossing, or Tyrell, who, if you're not playing those armies that kind of have quasi stealth, Tyrell sometimes needs stealth pretty badly. So he's a pretty solid card still. Ryan?
All right, I'll start from the top of my list. I have Winterfell as the first card that popped in my head. This card's kind of like the catch-all, be-all location. It just gives everyone on your board, pretty much everyone on your board, +1 strength, which is gross. And then also you can stop tears. That's just huge. And might as well just say that to me, because that's what it is. You just kneel it during entry challenges, and they can't tears you. If like, I haven't drawn my Catelyn yet. Well, I got my Winterfell. It stops things like Miri. It stops a lot of things. Put the sword if your opponent can get that off against Stark.
Yeah,
stops that.
Shuts her down.
Stops the pillage from Gregor. It's like, oh.
No doubt. And even like the +1 for all your characters, it's like that can just be huge. Takes a lot of your characters out of like burn range, Chronicled, stuff like that. Helps you just win those challenges that matter. I've been very happy with Winterfell, and I'm glad it's a start card. That's about all I can say.
Yeah. How does this get impacted by people running winter and summer? Like, it doesn't do much against. It's really good to have that against summer, but if you play another winter deck, do you still have ×3 of this in your deck? Because if you hit another winter deck, it's a dead card.
If winter,
+1's still there.
If winter goes rampant, maybe it goes down to 1 or 2 copies. But even still, like I said,
you're ×3ing it as well, right?
Right now I am, like I said, even just a +1 that's always going to benefit you without the trigger. So.
All right, what's your next card?
My next card is Sir Gregor Clegane, as you just mentioned.
I just added him to my list at that last conversation, but I can take him off now.
All right. So the reason why I included him, well, it should be pretty obvious. He's stupid.
I love him so much.
He's a stupid-ass card. I mean, all right.
I love playing him. I hate seeing him on the other side of the table. I'm like, you should be on my side.
With the second edition of the game having a bigger gold curve, the game is naturally going to be are going to have more variance, right? Because you have bigger characters, you're going to have like bigger effects, like things are just going to, like if you don't see your economy, that's going to suck. Like it just has more variance. But this guy has fucking variance printed on him. Like that's what his ability is. Like it's just like, oh, fucking hit the lottery today. Woo, 777. Oh, use that. Oh, use that. It's like it can just dramatically swing a game and just for nothing.
Double down. What? Got an 11. You always double down on 11.
I know, but it's $200. It's blood money.
Mike, you gotta double down.
I can't double down on you.
Mike, if you don't look like you know what
You
you're
stop
doing,
for a
then what's
second.
wrong?
Just shut up, okay?
If
I
you don't
can't.
look like
You
you know what
just
you're
stop
doing,
for a
then
second.
double down. Mike, I'm telling you, if you don't look like you know what you're doing, if I
Just shut up. You make
should
sure
stay.
double
Double down.
It's nice.
Pillage.
I've lost games that I've had in the bag because this guy's hit.
Yeah, like games he should have won, you've lost because his stupid effect.
I also love playing Martell against him because he just becomes like a useless.
Yeah.
I guess he's like an Iron Throne, but
Yeah.
it's just it's so hard because I know he's a dumb broken card, or not. His ability is what's broken. It probably should have killed that character, and then maybe that's it. Or maybe it killed that character it revealed, and it has to be the exact card on the table. So then it wouldn't just it wouldn't just be the cost.
We could sit here and talk about like 10 different ways this could have been tweaked, and it would have been absolutely fine. Like there's so many ways this could have been done better. And
I love looking at the bottom 5 cards in my deck though, and just finding him. I know he's dumb. He's really I can't help it. I have a soft spot for him, but he's really stupid.
I like the art, but like it's just
I know we've already touched on what he could do, but if I could go back in time and redesign this card, he would hit all characters. Like if I flipped up a card on my opponent's side table and he didn't have a 3-coster, but I had a 3-coster, he kills my 3-coster. It fits him how he's just wild, swinging his sword around, killing people.
He probably wouldn't have seen me play,
but he's good. Like compare him to the. I mean, I'm glad he's 7. I don't know if you compare him to the new Tyrion. If you're gonna, because there's gonna be so much 7-cost characters that Lannister has, and that box comes out. I don't think he beats out that Tyrion if you're doing a Klansman thing. In Melee, I don't think he beats out that Cersei if you're playing that Cersei in Melee, but he beats out everyone but Tywin. So it's like...
Well, he's like the perfect one of, right?
I played 2. I played 3.
No, actually. I know, but I'm just saying even in those decks, they're talking about like, a Klansman deck or even a Cersei deck. It's like, yeah, but you could always just slide one Gregor in there too. And
the fact that you're talking about that you can just hit the lottery. Like I can just play Hear Me Roar because I can't, like say I play it out my economy. I can't afford this guy anymore. Just play Hear Me Roar. He goes out. He kills someone. Maybe I put to the sword in hand, which I could hit with his 10 strength, and then he also pillages it and could kill, and then Pluster's Claim.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just gross. I think there's enough said about.
He's a bad card. Bad card.
All right, I'm going to talk about the card that I knocked off my list because I wasn't talking about Gregor, but it's back on the list.
Back on.
Ward. This is a card people went a little nuts for, and I don't even include it in my start deck anymore. It just doesn't have enough good targets at the moment.
You're right.
A lot of those 4-cost characters are no attachments, so it's going after 3-cost characters most of the time.
Yeah, I feel like once the card pool really grows, and I mean really grows, like 2, 3 cycles, 4 cycles in, this card will be a lot better. Just because you'll have a lot more variety of targets that you can hit, a lot more like 4-costs, like no more stupid armies, like actual decent 4-cost characters you can steal. Although, you know, I've had this card wreck my face before. Like there's a recent tournament, and this is I feel sad talking about this again, but where I was marshalling before my opponent. It was a Stark Mirror match, and I shouldn't have done this, but I just wasn't considering Ward because I don't play it myself. But I marshaled Catelyn, and then I marshaled Lady on Catelyn, and then I marshaled Nymeria on Catelyn, and then I was done. And then my opponent marshaled Ward and took Catelyn, took Nymeria, took Lady, and it was devastating. That pretty much like gave him the game right there. It was just such a big swing. But so yeah, it can be huge, but it can also be a dead card with no targets, and it's also expensive. But
Cersei, Catelyn, and Theon are like the big three, right? Like those are like your best case scenario characters to take.
yeah,
And I feel like a lot of times your opponent will just confiscate this next turn. But you can do things in Stark like use Jon Snow just to discard that character.
Yeah.
Or like your opponent could use confiscation, then you're like, well, I'm only 3 Melks in my deck are all not going away now. But
yep. I feel like this card will see more play as...
It's no Crown of Gold, but it's good.
Yeah, no, it's great. All right, my next card is another Stark card, Sir Roderick Cassell, a.k.a. Hot Rod.
He almost made my list. Almost.
So, I really want to like this card, but that 6 cost slot for Stark now is so full that it's like impossible to find room for him. That said, if you do play this guy and the stars align and you have 3 to 5 unique Stark characters going all in the military challenge, holy crap, that's huge. With this guy in play. But I think most people have generally switched from him to the Blackfish simply because of the renown, and that draw for Blackfish is it requires less of you basically. So, Ryan, what do you think about Hot Rod?
So I've gotten really bored with the Rob thing right now. It's like the best thing you can do, but I've just moved away from it, and I'm trying. My 6 costers right now are the Blackfish and Hot Rod. He's been really good. There's either 2 things happen when he hits the table, though. Either I just run away with the game and draw 10,000 cards every turn, or my opponent is like using like their Nightmares, their Milk, their Nymeria, trying to
Well, he
stop...
has no attachments, right? Except for a weapon, I believe.
I don't know. Let me look him up quick. I'm pretty sure he can have... Yeah, he can have ice.
Yeah, except for weapons. Is what I said.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. So,
So you can't get
I've had illegal things done to me. But yeah, like Nymeria will just sit there and take his military icon the whole game, which seems bad, but that's fine.
Or even
if they want to take Roderick's military icon away all day, that's fine.
The thing is that it's a strict kind of thing, right? He has to be attacking, he has to be participating in the challenge. So it's like
to me, it's either it does nothing and he gets stopped the whole game, or I'm doing it like every single turn, drawing 2 to 3 to 4 cards. The most I've drawn is 8, I think, at once, just to say I could do it.
Get a little Shaggy Dog and Rickon in there.
I really like him. In a competitive deck, I would run Rob and Greywin, but in a fun deck, my deck right now is just like tons of copies of people. He's really good.
I would say if you've got one flexible slot, even in the 5 cost range, maybe swap one of those cards out for
He's really good
Cassell.
at Wardens of the North.
Yeah, because he's loyal anyway. Chances are he's going to cost 5. But yeah.
Because with Wardens of the North, you can literally throw in everyone on your table and just fill up your hand.
I don't feel like it should be the case where he doesn't get played. I'll say that much. I feel like he should see some play.
I think Dracarys has faded away a little bit too, and that was kind of what was holding him back when he first came out.
Yep. All right.
Next, I got kind of a combo 2 cards here. Some Sand Snakes, a Tyene Sand and a Nymeria Sand. Mostly I'm going to talk about Tyene. Nymeria's decent. She's been talked about.
It's kind of a
to death.
package, right? It's
like... But to me, Tyene is just really powerful. If your opponent is playing either the wrong deck for the matchup or they just don't have an answer out, if you have both those cards out, you just wipe their board. Or like last Tuesday, I was playing a casual game. My opponent was playing the Lannister Targ deck. They were just kicking my butt for like 4 games in a row. And then I'm like, well, let me try the Martell attachment deck. It just crushes with her out because you're just like, I got all 3 icon attachments in the hand. Let me put all 3 in that one character. That Tricon has no icons anymore. Now I'll use Tyene and kill her. Then get all those attachments back in my hand and then do it over and over. You kill a character every single turn. She is... I mean, they needed this. They needed this dumb, broken character. But it's like too strong against the right decks, or like when the right stars align where your opponent doesn't have the right icons out and you're just wipe their board 1 card at a time.
Yep. It's annoying. Not going to deny that. Yeah, I don't have much to add. She's really gross. I feel like the art is fine, but I feel like you and I should probably make an alt art at some point, just because it doesn't really reflect like the ability. Like
no, it fits her perfectly because in the books she's like looks like an innocent, sweet girl, but not everyone knows that she's like these intricate knowledge of poisons and stuff. Because she's like the daughter of like Oberyn and I want to say a Septa, so she's like the innocent sand snake that's really one of the most devious and dangerous sand snakes.
Seems pretty ruthless.
It fits. Yeah. I like the first edition art too. They're pretty much look like the same person in the art, but
all right. My next card is actually a Martell card as well. The Bone Way. The Bone Way.
Is that a new theme
The Bone
song?
Way.
The Bone Way.
Yeah, it's the Bone Way song. So I feel like this card is underplayed. I don't feel like it's like amazing or earth-shattering, but I really like it. And I know it can be a dead draw like late in the game if it's like, oh, round 5, yeah, Bone Way, okay. Like, but if you get it early in the game, like that's kind of big if you're getting like 3 power or even 6 power from it during the course of the game. And if anything Martell needs right now, it's like speed. They need stuff that speeds them up
We're
because
playing the long game, man.
they're pretty damn slow unless you're playing like
They are slow.
unless you're playing like Crossing Viper, but even
Yeah.
that won't hit sometimes. But yeah, I mean, if you want to try out the Bone Way, my advice is maybe try 2, and that way you try to see it early and get it into play.
I know we
And-
don't talk about melee much, but this card's really good in melee.
Yep.
Because I noticed I built a melee deck that has the 3 of these, and then basically focuses on the Viper and taking away one opponent's intrigue icons and just intriguing all in on one person every single turn and just trying to rack up power. Then if people attack you and try to stop you, but then you're gaining power from them attacking you. Yeah, it's a solid location. I think I'd only play maybe 1 copy right now, but it's good. I think it's actually stayed the same power level as when it's come out. Like, it hasn't fluctuated much.
Yeah, I feel like it's good and should probably see a little bit more play, but that's me. Ryan?
Support of the People. It's an event that everyone kind of went bonkers when it came out. Not that it was like overpowered, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put this in every deck, 2 copies. Like, I'm just gonna pull all my locations. And then right when it came on, I was like, whew, no support of the people to be seen. I don't think it even. I play it in 1 deck now, and that's like that stupid dominance deck to try to get
The pieces,
the
right?
pieces
Yeah.
out. But it's like, I don't know. It's a fine card. I don't know how many, if it makes a cut, like in almost any deck besides like those.
Card slot's a card slot, man, you know, and
Yeah.
events you can't set up. It's like, well, do I want to run Support of the People and hope that I get that
Or
power
an event
challenge
that just
off?
removes a character from the table.
Or that, or just another copy of the location that you want to see, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know.
Did you ever really play this card? I think maybe you did in Tyrell.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Tyrell, and maybe I dabbled in Greyjoy a little bit.
because
but-
those locations are really good in Tyrell, but they're really annoying to try to get out. Like, it's just like, I want to do something else besides pay 3
yeah,
for
High
this
Garden,
location.
yeah, it's like...
Or the Mander. It's
Yeah.
like you want, those are like the best locations to grab.
Yep.
Besides the obvious dominance
A lot of
ones,
the thing with Tyrell, just as a tangent here, is like when you draw, like like using the Mander or like Pleasure Barge with Martell. A lot of the times, like in my experience, like the best way I can sum it up is you're just getting stuff. It's like just Tyrell stuff. Like you're not really like doing anything.
No.
It's like, oh, here's some more Tyrell cards. It's like, what am I fucking doing? So, I don't know. Poor Tyrell.
I'm always kind of surprised when they win their games. It's just like, oh, yep, it's 15 power. It's like, oh, it's over. Oh, okay.
Well, like you were talking.
that's the one house that when you lose to, you don't like feel bad about at all. It's like when you lose to them, it's just like, yep, they played the game and they played like it to the T, and it's
Yep.
just
That was a nice,
when
clean game.
Yeah, it's like there's no.
You won those challenges.
Yeah.
Good job.
But yeah, so anyway, support of the people. I don't know. I want to hear what you like. If you guys want to comment, and if anyone's playing this, I've kind of been looking at Thrones DB and haven't really seen the card in any deck, so I want to see if anyone's actually playing this event, because
feel
our
like-
meta is not.
I feel like it'll always kind of be a niche card that'll just be in some random decks, but probably never super like tier 1. But
It seems like the kind of card that like would be in the World Champions deck ×1 or something weird. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
this like weird.
it's like, oh, this is my answer card.
Yep.
All right. My next card is Gendry.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
He almost made my list too.
Yeah. So actually, before I start talking about this card, I wanna kind of rib you a little bit here, because you gave this card a really hard time when it was like
I was
first got
wrong.
spoiled or something.
I was so
yeah,
wrong.
you were so wrong. You were like, why would you play this card? It sucks. It doesn't do anything.
You don't understand. I was wrong. It was so wrong. I'm so sorry.
It's like
It's so good. It's so good now. Oh,
you were really down on this card, man. I
was
gotta
wrong.
say.
I was wrong.
All right, yeah. I mean, it's cost efficient, right? It's what 4 for 4
I played
strength.
3 of him in my Bradley deck
Jesus.
right now because he's so good.
He's very good. He's very annoying too. He's got good icons, and he gives you power for essentially doing nothing. Yeah, like I said, I mean,
He usually does nothing too. He stands there and he basically counts his 4 strength to dominance. I
Yeah.
hardly ever use him in a challenge.
I mean, he kind of encourages those decks that I hate, the dominance things, and so in that regard, I hate him.
I don't know why his strength is so high. Like, I don't know why that character's... Like, the card, maybe it's fine with 4 strength, but I have no idea why Gendry is
He's
a
a
4 strength
blacksmith,
character.
man.
Still. He's like, yeah, he's got all that power in the court, that 4 strength
Yeah.
power. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's a little odd.
But, yeah, he's really good.
He probably didn't need. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he has a huge cost. Like, if you lose that dominance at one time and you're like, oh, crap, I don't have any of the cheap bastards out.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah, and you can't save him because of
No,
sacrifice.
yeah. So, but it seems like that never happens. It's always like, well, I already got the Iron Throne and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
and I just get 3 power
Yeah,
returns.
it's not hard to make sure that you win Dom. All right.
No, and the fact that you can have Red Keep out and you're right there is just 6 strength on a power challenge, just that one character.
Mm-hmm.
But
All right.
I'm just a bastard.
my next card is the Hound. I love this card. People rag on it and say it's too good. I think it is really good. It's like a 5 out of 5 card.
I think they're right. Yes.
It's not a 6 out of 5 card though. It's a 5 out of 5 card. It's a solid good card. It's just cards that were overpowered from the beginning, like Tyrion, are what make this card seem like it's a 6 out of 5 instead of a 5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, like Tyrion basically makes this card, like it gives this card its broken status. Essentially, it allows this card to be broken.
And it's nice, like in Jumping Lions. It's like Hear Me Roar and Never Die Against My Family. It's like, sure, that character goes away in the face. Well, I just won that challenge. He goes back in my hand.
Yeah.
So it's like him and his brother are just really strong cards. Whereas I think this card's a card you can predict for. This card's a decent card, but I don't think it's overpowered as people are saying. I think it's still a 5 out of 5 card. It's good.
Yeah, sure. I agree with you. It's 5 out of 5.
Well, that's all.
Not overpowered.
That's all I ask for.
That's all you ever wanted.
Yeah. All right.
All right, my next card is, and we've been beating around the bush with this card for these last 2 videos, but First Snow Winter. I'm going there. So, yeah, this card has kind of changed the meta for better or worse, and it's a big reason why Lannister has been so prominent in the tournament scene. And like Ryan and I have been talking about, even if you don't include it in your plot deck, you should be kind of playing around it and marshalling around it. And that's kind of one of the reasons why Ryan has been talking about, saying that it's maybe been less effective for him in his plot deck because people are just aware of it now and know that it's a thing. So yeah, I mean, biggest thing with First Snow is just be careful with those setups. You know, if you can't set up a 4-cost character or 2, well, chances are you're not going to do 2, but at least 1, then you might be in trouble because of a First Snow, first turn, if you don't have any 4-costers set up, then you might be in trouble. So, Ryan, what do you think about for First Snow?
It's really good. I think it's I'm glad it came out when it did because I think it's a Valor prep. It's like a little beginner class for Valor.
It's a taste. It's a taste
Yeah.
of things to come.
I think Valor is going to help the meta a lot, and I think this helped people get ready for cards that are going to come and just shake up the meta. Like this shook up the meta. Yeah, it's really good in Lannister because it had so many ambush cards. That's what made it so good, is you could just ambush in. Or there was dumb cards like, well, it's not a dumb card. It's a fine card. Trial by Combat.
Yeah.
Like if you can get that and Cersei out and you're just like, all right, pick everyone up. All right, intrigue, claim 2, military. Like there's stuff like that that's huge.
I would have been completely fine with this card, and I'm fine with it over. I mean, for the most part, but I would have been completely okay with it had the other houses have ambush, like at least 1 non-unique ambush card per faction.
What houses have 0 ambush right now? There's Tyrell. Night's Watch has a weapon. Baratheon has the guard now.
Stark has the Wolveswood, but that doesn't get played.
No,
I mean, I'm
that does
talking
not
about
count.
printed ambush
Yeah.
on a character. So
Yep.
I don't think there's much really.
There's just Lannister, the
Martell
Baratheon
has
army.
Hota, right?
Yeah,
His
which
ambush,
you usually don't.
Which you're not going to do
yeah.
that, but
Yeah, Lannister is the ambush house, and they're about to get their box with even more ambush cards.
and I know that's a part of Lannister's kind of like faction identity, but okay, then you can't have it both ways. Like if you want First Snow to hit it early, then you should have had ambush for more houses, or at least spread that out a little bit. Or if you want ambush to be only a Lannister thing, or at least mostly a Lannister thing, then push it back a little bit further. Like it was probably a little too early, but At least, if we're talking about just keeping the metagame healthy and keeping the factions somewhat balanced. But yeah, first snow. Ryan?
Right. Talking about things that get us ready for another card. Seastone Chair. I kind of see this as like the get ready for Miri someday card. It's just kind of a card that hits a table and changes the way you think about your challenges and just scares you. I don't every time I don't play Greyjoy right now. I used to play them. But every time I see a Greyjoy player, I always ask them after a game, how many Seastone Chairs are you running? And it's always just one copy that people are running. Do you think this is a one copy card? It's one cost and it's hard to kill.
I don't think so. I don't think it's one copy card.
Do you think it's 0 or more?
I think it's 2, or you can, I don't know if Support of the People gets played in competitive Greyjoy decks, but if you're playing 1, then I would play Support of the People just for it, pretty much. If you're not playing Support of the People, I'd play 2 copies, because
I think it hurts that Lannister's on the up and up right now, too.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
it's
oh, that's cool. Okay, I'll just ambush my Birdman and stop all that junk.
It's beautiful because it's targeted to kill. It's a 1-cost location. It's great for setup. And I know Greyjoy doesn't necessarily need more locations, and you're not thrilled with the idea of having 2 of 1, but this card is really strong. And like Ryan said, it changes the way challenges are done for a reason, because it's strong. So, yeah, if I were a Greyjoy player, which I really haven't been, I would probably play 2 copies.
And then I think Greyjoy is the house that you and me together play the least. I really, it's unfortunate too because they're getting Pike, which is a really strong, give it any character you want stealth.
Right.
But it's another location that helps locations. It's location.
You have to pick and choose, and you can't keep taking...
Like those 0-cost locations aren't going to make the cut anymore.
They aren't. I was just thinking about that, and you can't keep taking those...
They're not scouting vessels. What are they called? I think they're called scouting vessels. It's still scouts in the name.
Scouting boat.
Iron Fleet Scout.
Yeah, those probably don't do enough anymore. But, I mean, they're awesome, like, 0 cost, yay, but come on, we need higher impact cards. And as I was saying, like, you can't keep taking cards out of your character slots either, because it's like, I've seen Greyjoy decks lately where it's like, oh, I have 29 or 30 characters. It's like, come on, guys, like, you need to be able to top deck characters, and you need to be able to win challenges with characters. You can't get any less than that, I think. Like, you need to start picking and choosing what locations you're going to be including. And like, I think we're right on this one. Like, Iron Fleet Scout is getting cut, probably.
Yep, especially with Iron Mines, too. Yep. It's like...
Speaking of which...
Oh!
That's my next card. Look at that. Iron Mines. The biggest thing to say about this card is that it's not loyal. And some people like that, some people hate it. But the biggest thing to take away is that when Valor comes out, Banner of the Kraken's going to be everywhere, right?
Yes.
Just because of that one card. And is that a good thing, you think? Is it a bad thing?
I think Greyjoy needs something. I mean, it might be too much of a good thing, but they need something right now, and that would help them a lot. They're going to get the most help from Valor out of any house.
Yeah, because the offensive Valor is going to be a thing.
Yep.
I saved my guys. Your guys are dead.
Things like Dampmere will start getting played again, where you want to bring your characters that got Valor back alive. Too.
Yeah, I think Greyjoy, I think they've been solid. I think they've been good from the start, but I think Valor, like, you're right. I think that's going to kind of bring them back to at least tier 1.5.
Iron Mines is a really good card. I think we both give it a 5. I think it might still be there, but I think it's a 5 in most 70% of matchups, but then like the other 30%, it's like a 3 or 2. There's a lot of games I play where I'm like, this deck is not designed to target to kill people. This deck's designed to get power and win with 15 power. So then it's just like, oh, that's cute. You have an Iron Mines over there. That's not going to do anything this whole game, but you can play it.
Yeah.
But then again, that's about 30% of matches, whereas 70% is about
tiers
removal.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's a decent card. It's nice that they have that since the attachment does nothing now for them. The Drown God's Blessing doesn't stop tiers. So.
Yep. All right, Ryan.
Next might be one of the most commonly played plots in the game right now. Trading with Pentoshi. And this will be interesting because we both feel differently about this card. I think this card's almost a must play. I play it in every deck but one of my 6 decks right now. It's just like, it just helps me get out 2 characters. Like if I have a King's Road and 2 decent characters in my hand, I'm playing that Pentoshi just to poop out 2 huge 7-cost dudes and then give my opponent 3 gold. It's bit me in the butt maybe 2 or 3 games out of the 50 or whatever I played since that card came out.
I have dabbled with Pentoshi, but I felt dirty while I played it. Like, it's just like, ugh, I'm giving my opponent something too. Like, it's like giving your opponent an extra King's Road that they don't have to play.
The thing I like about it is like 90% of the time your opponent is either playing Combo Westeros or Noble Cause or another Pentoshi. So with Noble Cause, it's like you break even on the gold, but you get to decide who goes first. Pentoshi, you both go freaking nuts with gold, and then someone probably Varys or Wildfires. And then the Combo Westeros is they have 8 and you have 10. So it usually seems to work out in your favor. But if you can get naveled, that's game. Like if you get naveled when you play that first turn, it's over.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad card, but I feel like it's just like I just can't bring myself to really play.
Yeah.
Like I almost like if I need a second economy plot aside from Noble Cause, I'll probably just play Calling the Banners instead. But I understand your argument, and I know that it can be powerful first turn because it's like with that 10 gold and more economy, probably you are creating more than likely a problem for your opponent. Like you're like, oh well, here's Jaime and Tyrion, or here's the Mountain, or here's Robb and Grey Wind. You know what I mean? Like you're creating an issue due to that huge economy burst you just got.
It is risky too, because I can remember a specific game when we were playing, and I can't remember what I was playing, but I put out a decent amount of characters. But then you put out like Robb and Eddard and Ice, and I'm like, how did you do that? And then you're like, well, you just gave me 3 extra gold. How do you think I did? So there is such a few situations where that just destroyed me. But one of the other situations is I've played this card like a noob before. Like you have to be careful. Like you gotta look at your hand. You can't just spend 7 out of 10 gold on one character and like maybe a location on a character. Like that can screw you over when you have a bunch of cards in your hand and you have that 5 reserve. Like that can really hurt to discard like 2 or 3 cards. So you have to be careful that you're not either plopping out one huge dude and that's about it, or plopping out a ton of little dudes so you get wildfired.
Yeah, I feel like you need to kind of get a good balance. You need like.
I think if you're playing a deck like with the wall or expensive locations like the Arbor or something, I think you play this to get those out and a few other things. It's to get out. I would say ideally what you want to do with this card is get out like a bomb character and like a bomb like support card, whether that be like a draw location, a Winterfell, the wall, like ice, like some kind of nasty attachment or location that generally is hard to get out, or Syrio. But the dirtiest trick you can do is reveal this and your opponent reveals Noble Cause or something, and then you just say you're first and have them marshal a bunch of things, and then you just go, I'll play Varys in this location. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So this card works very nice as a Varys bait card.
All right. My next card is Winterfell Crypt.
I forgot that card existed until you said it.
See, and that's why it's on my list, because I feel like this card should not be forgotten. Because I have one of it in my Stark deck, and I am very happy with this card after a lot of playtesting. And the thing is I keep seeing Stark deck lists in deck lists or decks that have won tournaments even without this card, and that's cool. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you need this card, but in my experience, this card is great. The fact that you can claim Sansa or even Hodor and remove one of your opponent's bomb characters is huge. And this is a card that in some ways can change the challenges phase, because if your opponent is like, oh, well, if I do this mill challenge, they're going to claim Hodor, and then Nymeria is gone. You know what I mean? Like that can completely shut down mill challenges for your opponent. Sometimes it's not going to do that much, but it's a one-cost location. It's not a huge investment, and in my experience, it's been worth including.
What card are we talking about again?
Shut up.
To me, this card just doesn't. There's just too much. There's too many cards that the Stark has. And I find myself going really heavy on characters, but then I'm playing like ×3 Winterfell also. It's just, I cannot find room for this card. And I actually think that the Winterfell Heart Tree, that's actually probably going to be somewhat playable when Valor comes out, and that I would probably play over the Crypt. The Crypt is good. To me, the Crypt fits in with Tower of the Hand. They're like 2 completely different locations. One is 3 cost, one is 1. But it's like they fit that same role of like, yeah, this is really strong, but I gotta play this instead. Like, I want to try this thing, but I gotta stick with what I know and what's better.
As far as deck building goes, or just like marshalling? Okay.
Yeah, because it's just...
Well, I'm telling you from my experience.
You have more experience in Stark than I do.
Well, that's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying that I've had this pretty much since this card has come out. I've included it in my deck, and
has it done a lot?
Yes,
okay.
And there's even been some games where I'm like, man, I wish I had 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's, it can be big, dude, and your opponent can forget about it. And I've even made plays before where I've killed even bigger characters, like I've killed Greywind or something, where I didn't have another option just to remove something nasty on the other side. So it can really take your opponent by surprise, and I feel like people should be playing should be playing this card more in general. So, all right.
Next, I'm gonna do a neutral agenda that isn't fealty. It is Lord of the Crossing. I dabbled with this when it first came out. I don't play it. I even consider playing it really anymore. I never even comes to my attention. When I'm thinking about building a deck, it doesn't even come in my head. And I'm I'll try Lord of the Crossing deck. I just always go a fealty or a banner. It seems like, as dumb as it sounds, banner, lion, whatever your house you're playing sounds better than Lord of the Crossing. But I don't know. What do you think?
Well, if you are playing Lord of the Crossing, you're playing a different kind of deck, right?
Yes.
I think Targ Lord of the Crossing is good just because of Mare, because you're oh, now she's +2. I mean, that's it's a little wombo combo, but it's good. I feel like Tyrell is solid Lord of the Crossing deck. I mean, not that Tyrell's very good to begin with, sorry, but Martell, obviously. There's some decks that it really works well with. Even I've seen a couple Greyjoy decks. So I feel like it's a solid agenda, which is probably where we want agendas to be, right? Where they see some play, but not too much or too little.
See, I'm slightly biased. I actually want the banner agendas to fade away. I want that to be a selling factor for the core, and it's a good way for new players to start. They don't have enough cards, but I actually want it to slowly somewhat fade away from those banners. Those banners are the secondary option, whereas having a solid agenda or maybe no agenda would be a thing.
Yeah, I agree as far as the banners go. They should be more niche and weird, janky kind of combo decks where it's I'm trying to do this one thing with these combination of characters. I feel like that's fine. That can always be a part of the game, but a smaller part. I want factions to shine on their own through fealty and crossing and these summer and winter agendas. I want to see these houses work on their own together. But
all right, yeah, I just want to see this card do more, and I feel like it's gonna literally, with those summer and winter things coming out, just not be played. You'll have maybe one deck in an entire tournament, if even that, play Lord of the Crossing right now. It just doesn't do enough, unfortunately, right now.
We'll see. My next card is one we've talked about a lot, but it's time to make it official. Miri Mazdur.
I think we rated I can't remember what it was, but we rated this card too low, whatever we did. Whatever we rated, yeah, this is a 5 card now at this point.
I thought we rated it pretty high. I'll have to rewatch it. But at any rate, not a big fan of this card.
You don't think it's good, or you just don't like seeing it?
It's good. It's probably too good. And my biggest issue with this card is it probably should have been loyal, because loyalty is just right. You always go back to loyalty being kind of a game
it's a gameplay, not
gameplay mechanic, a deck building restriction.
It's not a Nedley thing.
And I feel like this should have been one of those things where it's
definitely loyal.
Well, and it's also loyalty. Also, it kind of keeps that house's or faction's identity intact.
Yes.
Right. So, anyways, I feel like Mary should have been loyal, and keeping her loyal should have, it would have also stopped the janky shenanigans you can do with the Hound and other crap like that, the raiding longships and stuff. It's stop that. Why are we doing these things? Make it loyal so we don't have to deal with these problems. And
I can see this card out of any card in the game getting in a errata to be loyal.
Because now the developers have to always keep stupid Miri in mind, because she could be in any damn deck she wants to be in.
Right now, Pike is going to be coming out, and you're just no, I'll kneel that and give Miri Mazdur stealth, because that doesn't only target Greyjoy characters. She is top 3 7-costers in the game. I think it's Tywin, and then her and Gregor are kind of tied. I think she's actually might be a step above Gregor. She just needs pieces, whereas Gregor is just I need luck.
Sure.
But besides Tywin and maybe Gregor, she's the best 7-coster right now. She just completely changes the game. I've played games against my opponent where I've had the whole game underneath. I got it. I got this game, but it's gonna take me forever because I just gotta play smart constantly every turn to make sure Miri doesn't just kill one character and then a domino effect. Her and Tyene have a lot in common of that domino effect that just keep going.
I like that you compared it to Tyene as well. The thing about Tyene, I like Tyene better because Tyene as a card, just as design-wise, Tyene costs 6, right? She has 3 strength.
Yes.
Why wasn't Miri in like that same kind of ratio? Why Miri?
It's because her ability is so strong that if you made it like really hard to get, it's like you wouldn't play her at all. She's just too.
But
good.
that's what I'm saying.
She could even just have one icon, and I would be happy with that. Like if she was Gregor type, or it's
She
like
could
all
have
I
been-
have is a power icon.
She could have
like,
been tweaked a little bit. It could have
Yeah.
been 4 or even 3 strength, and I think she would have seen some play still. I mean, you see Banner of the Dragon everywhere now just because people are trying to exploit her, and it's dumb. I don't like that. Sorry. Like I'm
No,
not a
and
fan.
like we talked about in the last episode, like Illyrio, you can just like pay 2 gold to stand her. Like, are you kidding me? Like you can have her go in a challenge and then kill my character with a really good power icon, the high strength,
Yeah.
then stand her up and then do a power challenge and kill another character.
And that is dumb, but that's also like I would have been fine with it just being that. It's like, oh, that's the one like janky kind of
It's just the fact that we
combo
were talking
I
about-
could have done in faction,
Yeah.
but now because she's not loyal, oh, you have all these other ways to exploit her.
Like Tyrion funneling that money to
Yeah.
stand her up. It's like, yeah,
Ugh.
I don't think anyone's happy with her right now. Even people playing her feel kind of dirty about it. I feel dirty when I play her. It's just not.
Well,
It's not
it's claim replacement too, so you're getting targeted kill off of a intrigue or a power challenge, right?
Yep.
So it's like that's again.
And then you can do your military maybe too if you have
yeah,
Drogo out.
yeah.
It's just
so it's like it adds up so fast, and it's like, oh yeah, Tears of the Least. You can get kill off of Tears of the Least. You can get kill off of Miri off of the intrigue or the power.
Dracarys,
You can
that character
get
that defended
Dracarys.
Miri.
You can get Plaza. You can get fucking. I mean, it's ridiculous how much kill you can get. It's
Too much kill. I will
like
we
keep the
agree.
kill limited military, like and military based effects. Like that's what military challenges are for, right? Killing characters. Why are we doing all this other stuff?
Yep, agree.
Ugh.
Let's get away from the kill and go to Arbor. Arbor is really good. I think it actually bumped Tyrell up. It didn't bump it a notch above whatever house is above it, but it got it closer to that house. I think the limited thing's a little silly. If you guys don't know, you can't set up this with a dupe, and if you do dupe this during the game,
It
that
counts
counts
as
as
your
your
limited.
limited.
I would just like to say that I was the author of that post that started the whole shit storm.
Yeah, started the whole storm.
I was the author.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
I don't
thank
know if
you.
I'd want that title, but
I'm
I
proud.
like the setup role. That makes sense because you reveal all your limited cards at once. That makes sense. You're revealing 2 limited cards. But I think setting up having that be limited is lame. But then again, are you playing that many limiteds because you're playing like you cut back on limiteds? You play Tyrell a lot more than me. You cut back on your limiteds because you're playing 3 of this, right?
Well, that's I was about it. I mean, I've been playing with Tyrell and not seriously. I think it's an interesting place with him. Is like, what am I cutting out to make room for the Arbor? Like, am I cutting out the Rose Gardens? Am I cutting out Rose Roads? Not really sure what the right answer is quite yet. Maybe one of each. The thing about the Arbor is it's obvious that on setup it's incredible.
Incredible.
Although it can also bite you in the ass too, because if you're so desperate to set this thing up, chances are you're not setting up any first snow proof characters, so you're vulnerable to that. Although
Does this make naval better in Tyrell? Naval superiority? Like if you're like, oh, I got 3 gold out, let me just naval my opponent first turn.
But again, is naval going
That's
to be a
gonna
thing
go away.
anymore?
No,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a thing. As soon as the next cycle starts.
And it's, I don't know, the Arbor is a good card, no doubt, but if you don't get it in setup, it can suck. You know what I mean? Because if you get it later in the game, it's like, oh shit, 4 gold. It's like, am I going to spend that over a character that I need? And it's like, man, it can just, if you don't get it early, it can kind of suck at the same time. So it's interesting. I don't know. It's not, I will say it's a great card, but it's not like blowing my socks off kind of great. I don't know. There's Tyrell. Maybe once Tyrell is a little more fleshed out, maybe once they get more characters and I can get some more experience with them, I can have a better understanding of the Arbor and just how good it is or bad it is. But until then, that's my thoughts.
That's great.
Thanks. So my last card is a star card, naturally. It's a attachment named Nymeria. Cute little puppy. So yeah, I feel like this is another underplayed star card that can absolutely devastate your opponent when you're on the offensive. So yeah, it's not going to help you get back into the game, but if you are on the attack, it can absolutely wreck your opponent just because you can get more than one intimidate off. I think it's a great one of, and should probably see more play than it has been.
Now I'm gonna go on a mini rant and hope FFG is listening. We already kind of touched about it on Direwolves at the end of last episode. I don't get why this isn't terminal, but Lady that just gets +2 strength is, where this one's obviously better. And like, I really wish Direwolves had no attachments except Direwolf, so you could have like the whole pack thing going and make Direwolf somewhat better. But I agree, this is a solid card. I always end up including one of it in my deck. How many do you play?
I play one.
Yeah.
I mean, it costs 2.
The 2 is, for some reason, that 2 seems like it might as well be like 20. Like when I see that 2, I'm like, whoa, that's
You're like,
expensive.
Ooh, 2. Well, that's because you're spending 2 for a keyword essentially.
Yeah.
But it's a great keyword if you're able to use it.
I've been trying to abuse it right now with Winterfell Castle and running a bunch of uniques, so then I can be like, oh, I won that challenge by 8. Intimidate. Take a gold move.
I feel like it's gotten better because of just the value you get out of like Sansa and like Septa. If you're able to use this on like intrigue and like then move it over, use it on power or even military. Like Stark is pretty dang set with the icon spread right now. So
speaking of, we just talked about Lord of the Crossing. I actually want to try that at some point. Like I feel like they can get there pretty soon. Whereas intrigue's probably they're still their weakest, but they can get there.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of that has to do with they have more cards than everyone else right now. But
yep. So that's my last card. Ryan, what's yours?
Forgotten Plans. I almost forgot about it. Came right during my Pentoshi and me. We already touched on how this card wasn't the best in our review. I think we gave it like pretty decent reviews. But I'm only playing this in one deck right now, and that deck is my Targ deck that can like just get crushed by First Snow. And I literally think this plot might as well say, hope your opponent played First Snow, and I hope you're blanking First Snow right now.
This plot should have been 5 gold because if you don't guess right, then you're stuck with a plot that has 4 gold and basically a blank text. So you're getting basically punished for, trying to play smart, basically. And if it had been 5 gold, at least you can marshal out something decent that turn and be like, ooh, well, I didn't get the plot that I wanted, but I still have 5 gold. It's still like essentially a Calm Over Westeros kind of a plot, and it's like, it's fine. You know what I mean? I think it could have seen a lot more play, actually, if it had been 5 gold instead of 4.
Agree. I will give FFG props on the alt art. That was like one of the only good things that came out of the National as far as prize support was the alt art of that. I loved the alt art of it.
Yep. So not much to say. It's not bad, but could be better.
So how did you feel about the first cycle plus box overall? Like what houses are you happy with where they at, and what houses are you think they're too good, and what house do you think is just needs to be better?
I'm happy with the development of Stark. It's obviously tier 1 now, as recent tournaments have reported. And Lannister is just as strong. I'm a little cautious, though, with their box just about to drop, about where their power level might be.
It looks good so far, because it looks like it's different at least.
I really hope like all the cards are just like for different kinds of decks.
I hope they all fit what they spoiled. Like if they all fit in the same attitude of like the cards that are spoiled, like just trying something different.
But then again, we kind of said the same thing about the Stark box, and now Stark is tier 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and now I'm not saying that the box is the only thing that helped them to get there, but I think a huge surge of Lannister cards can only help Lannister. So Tyrell obviously needs a lot more. I think it's just like they need flashier characters. They need things that I don't know.
They need a king, wouldn't you say? A king, maybe King Renly.
Yeah. So we'll see if they ever get there. Night's Watch. It's like I know they're behind, but at the same time, I don't really want the wall deck to be a thing because once that becomes tier 1, it's like that's awful. Hopefully, they develop a different way to play and a different way to win.
And the tier 1 Night's Watch deck will be Banner Baratheon and have all that dominant stuff in there too. So I just feel like
So I don't know. What do you think? Martell, obviously, right?
I think Martell is actually one of the best houses right now. The only problem with it is it takes like two or three votes longer to win those games.
That's because that's why Banner of Line has been so popular, because
it speeds it up.
Speeds it up with like Jaime's Renown, Tyrion's Stealth for the unopposed, stuff like that, and of course Banner of Line is never a bad option, so it's just a safe bet.
You get almost all those ambush characters in if you wanted to.
Yep.
which makes Lannister really good.
Martell's also getting that new Lord, Harmon.
That's going to be huge.
Right.
They're going to even go up more because Harmon's going to be.
And he has renown, so it's like
we needed that.
That's exactly what Martell needed.
Because I almost want to get rid of the Viper. It's like getting close to where like.
I feel like in a fealty Martell deck, you can straight up replace the Viper with that new character.
Yes, because to me the Viper's almost becoming. Alright, this guy's just going to defend one challenge every turn and not even attack because he's just 7 strength has 3 icons.
Martell is very interesting because I've liked playing them from the beginning, and you knew that they had some amazing cards like Gaston Grey from the get-go, but they really didn't get there until recently with Nymeria, Tyene, and all those attachments. And I feel like if the Martell player finds those pieces, it's absolutely awful and disgusting to play against, and probably the most MP experience in the game right now. But hey, at least they can win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're tier 1.
I like to hear what you guys think about Martell because I think if you go the full attachment route, it can be a very negative play experience to your opponent. Like we talked about earlier, you can just get if you get the intrigue icon attachment out, and you're just, or even just Nymeria, and you're just picking off one bomb character a turn, that can be gross.
So, but overall, I'm a fan of this cycle, and I'm hopeful that the game will continue to grow, and that the more cards will make it better. And I'm really excited for the second cycle.
I need more cards now. Like I need them now. It's getting to the point where I need.
That's why we're doing these videos, because we're just like we're just lusting over new cards. So, yeah.
That's it for this episode of the Wolveswood. Thanks for being here, Cameron.
Thank you, Ryan.
Winter is coming.